Hi there, I'm Wendy and welcome to my channel Wendy Poole Knits, and today's episode is a little bit different because this one is all about the trip that I made with my daughter Sammy to Unravel the Yarn Festival, which is in Surrey in the south part of the UK. So I do have an episode that will be coming up later this week that will be covering all the things that I'm making and that I've made in the last 6 weeks or so, but I thought that I'd keep this episode totally separate so that it's just about Sammy and my trip. So Unravel, it's a yarn festival that I've never been to before and neither has Sammy, and we actually live quite a long way away from each other, so getting together has to be planned and a conscious effort. It takes me about 4.5 hours to get there. So Farnham in Surrey, which is where Unravel is held, was a really good point for us to actually meet up. And I was also really lucky that my husband needed to be in that area of the country as well at the same time. So we went together and I actually got to knit in the car all the way there and all the way back as well. So that was a bit of a win-win for me. So what we did is we had our lovely day out together, we had a late lunch, and then Sammy came back to my hotel and we did a yarn haul video together. And I'd also taken some footage at the Unravel Festival as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk you through a little bit about our day, and then I'm going to hand it over to the video that we recorded together, and then have the video footage that I took at Unravel at the very end as well. So I did actually make a plan, and I did have 3 things that I knew I definitely wanted to buy, and there was a couple of stalls that I wanted to go and say hello to as well. So the 3 things that I had on my list that I wanted to do while I was there was I wanted to visit the John Arbon stall because I went to their open day back in May this year. And I totally fell in love with the process of how the yarn's made. I learned an awful lot while I was there, and I knitted with John Arbon yarn in this shawl here, which is the Kynance Cove shawl, and I absolutely fell in love with it. So I knew I wanted to make a plain pair of socks with some textured patterning on it, but I wanted to actually have a look and choose the colour in person. So that was one purchase that was on my list, and it's amazing actually that I made a list because I've never done that before. So I had that. I'd also bought the pattern for the Stephen West Colour Pop Opportunity socks. I keep saying the name wrong, I know I do. But I'd also got the pattern for that, and I wanted to look for the yarns to go together to make those. And I'd also seen, after watching the Ruth Loves to Knit podcast, that Twinset and Pearl were bringing out a new pattern, but it was going to be revealed at Unravel, and that the pattern was only going to be part of a kit at Unravel as well. So I've been meaning to make a Twinset and Pearl shawl pattern. I keep looking at them on Ravelry, so I thought that was on my radar to actually go and have a look and see what that was all about. And yes, I succumbed and I have bought the yarn, and I've now got the pattern as well for that. So on top of that, there was a couple of stalls that I wanted to go and see, and one of those was Stitches and Cream, which is a beautiful yarn shop down in Falmouth that also has an online community and sock club and things like that. And it's near enough for me to get to now and then, but not near enough that it's around the corner, if that makes sense. So I love going there, but it's not one that I get to on a weekly basis. So I wanted to go and say hello to Jane and Nikki that were on the stall there. And I also wanted to go and say hello to Anton, who is the Raw Wool Company. And he's also down in Cornwall, and I've occasionally bumped into him in Stitches and Cream as well. So they were the things that I wanted to do. So when we got there, we were quite late in arriving, and that's being totally honest about it. It would have been unrealistic to expect to be able to find a parking place, which we couldn't. The car park was full. So we had to go and park in the central car park in Farnham Maltings, which wasn't too bad. It was probably a 5-minute walk, if that. So that was great, and we got in there really quickly. We didn't really have to queue, and first thing we did was grab a coffee. I thought the queue looked horrendous, but to be quite honest, it moved so quickly that it wasn't a problem at all, and that was really, really nice. I did like the way that the whole venue is set up there. It's on a series of different floors. So you go into the main foyer, and then you can either go down to a cellar area or up to the upper floors, or turn right into the foyer and then in the grand hall and some other areas. So it felt very spacious, and it almost felt like you could see some things and then catch your breath and think before you moved on to the next batch of stalls. So I did really like the way that it was laid out. First stall we got to was the John Arbon stall, so I was thrilled. That was one of the things that was on my list and that I could do. And I'm not going to say too much on Sam's behalf, but she was totally smitten by something on that stall. And in actual fact, she did really well, because she waited right till the very end. We walked around the whole show, came all the way back, and the last thing she bought was what she'd seen right at the beginning at the John Arbon stall. So overall, I would say that I was really impressed. It's definitely a show that I would want to go back to. The amount of stalls there and the variety of things, it was amazing. If I've got one regret, I sort of saw in the distance a stall that had some really beautiful swifts for winding mini skeins of yarn, and they also had some really beautiful multicolored yarn winders, and I was looking at them from a distance, but it was busy and I didn't get to the stall, and in my head I was thinking I will go back to that, and I didn't. So that's a shame, but I can always look at doing that another time. I did want to get some needles. I do like buying needles if I can from a person, from a shop or a stall, and I managed to get my needles as well. And they had a glorious stall there. I was looking for either Hire or Chia Gu. Either of those two was going to be fine. And I think it was Pearl Sense. I'll tag it in the bottom. They had a really, really wonderful supply of needles, and they were really friendly. And in actual fact, I've got to say that everyone was really friendly. I just thought it was a lovely, lovely atmosphere there. So after we went to the show, we decided to go into Farnham Maltings to look for something to eat. And I have to say, we discovered this really, really lovely restaurant called Megan's. It seemed to have something for everyone. It was everything from a cocktail bar to doing brunches, and we both had a late lunch. And if anyone said to me, could you recommend anywhere to go to eat lunch in Farnham Maltings, I think I'd say go to Megan's, because if I'm in that area again, I will definitely go there to eat. But anyway, just before I hand over to our little Unravel Reveal that we filmed together, I'll just say a couple of things. And that is that the jumper that I'm wearing is actually an oldie. It's a real oldie, but it's one of those jumpers that I always reach for. So I grabbed the pattern out just to show you, because it's not a Ravelry pattern. The pattern is in a book by Marie Green. She's also gone under the name of Olive Knits. But anyway, the pattern is from that book, and it is the Newport Classic Turtleneck, but it actually knits up to a standard UK double knit weight. And it's that jumper, it's the one that I always grab and put it on. So I just wanted to share that. And then also, although I'm not sharing my knitting, I did knit in the car. And so on the way there and on the way back, altogether, I managed to get a foot done for a sock for my son. He is an adult. And I did this bit last night. I did this little bit of the heel, but I'd actually knitted to the very tip of the toe. So I'll be talking about that with all my other things in my next episode. And if you've heard some sort of snorting and some funny noises coming from this area, it's my dog. He's just snuggled up next to me, having a sleep after his morning walk. So Don't forget to check out Sammy. She is made by Sammy Lomax on Instagram, and she's great fun. She knits, she crochets, she sews, she makes some beautiful things, and she's actually really funny as well. And she sings as well, which I can't do, which is amazing. And apart from that, I'll just say don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoy our little video, and I will be back very, very soon in the next couple of days with my update. But for now, I hope you enjoy it, and take care and happy knitting.
Hi, welcome to our Unravel Reveal. We've both been to Unravel today in Farnham Maltings, and we thought we would show you what we bought. We should probably introduce ourselves, shouldn't we?
Yep, I'm Wendy.
I'm Sammy. This is my mum.
She's my daughter.
And we both like to make things.
So, I'm going to start with my first one.
Go on.
So, the first one was I bought 2 skeins of 4-ply yarn from Nellie and Eve, which is that.
Nice.
And that is going to be used to make the Rachel shawl, which is a pattern by Twinset and Pearl that has been, it's been revealed today, and it's on show at Unravel, and the pattern is going exclusively to Nellie and Eve. So that I'm going to be casting on shortly. So that's one done.
How did I miss that?
You were looking.
Where was I?
You went and looked at things with bright colours.
Oh, okay.
Whereas I was sensible, and I actually was talking and looking at the one thing that I wanted to buy.
Well, that leads on quite nicely to the next stuff. So as my mum has just explained, I quite like bright colours, and today I bought these 2 skeins of what is it, 78% kid mohair, fluffy stuff, 13% wool, 9% nylon, mega mohair DK weight from Mamie and Florrie.
It's so pretty. There was actually a slightly darker one, a slightly brighter one, but this one was the one that really called you. And
This is the
I think
colour
it was
that
the last 2.
It was the last 2. It was the last 2, and she told me that there wasn't any more after that, which was either a really great sales tactic and worked beautifully.
It did.
Or literally I was like, give them to me, they are mine, no one is having them. But the lady running the stall was wearing a jumper. What was the jumper called? The Yulia?
You'll tag it.
Yeah, I'll tag it.
Put it
But
in
basically, she was wearing a jumper that was made in this, and it was made out of 2 skeins, and it was beautiful. And I was literally like, I want this.
Yeah.
I want what you're wearing.
And it literally had 2 rows of garter stitch that she said looked like wick-rack, and it did look like wick-rack.
Yeah,
so
it was great.
Was beautiful.
So these are my first impulse purchases. I think they were £24.
We're not going to talk about impulse.
Okay, we don't worry about how much it cost. It doesn't matter, it's gone now.
So while she was buying that, I started looking, because another thing I wanted to buy was yarn for the Stephen West socks, the Pop Opportunity. Is that the right one? Opportunity socks. So anyway, I needed to have a skein of yarn and some minis. So I got this one from Mamie. Is it Mammy or Mamie and Florrie? Mammy and Florrie. So I got that one as my base, and then I picked up these 3 minis for my colour pops. So these were from Fox and Squirrel, and they were really helpful because they really helped me choose the right colours with you.
These are the ones that glow like a bit UV. You can see in the video that they're actually really bright.
The whole combination. That is what is happening with my yarns here.
I love
So that's the Colour Pop Opportunity, I think it is, from Stephen West. So that's that.
Nice.
And then talking about
colour
and high glow, I'm going to jump in again because I also bought this from the lovely Bird Street Yarns, and this does glow in the dark. All the little speckles glow, but I haven't got a torch with me to show you, but I'll pop that in another post. But it was a really lovely yarn. So I've intended that for socks, but we're going to see, because it has the colour pop, it might turn into something else, but that's definitely going to be used, and it feels really lovely and squishy as well.
I think it could be good to use it as a cowl or a headband, especially for like walking the dog and stuff like that. You'd be seen, be safe, be seen.
I will.
That's what they say. Then we both fell into John Arbon textiles.
Well, partly planned, I didn't fall into, because I knew that I wanted to buy this yarn before we got there, but I wanted to see the colour. But but she just went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I definitely did.
So who's going first?
You
go first.
No, you go first.
So I fell in love with John Arbon yarn after I made my first Kindness Cove shawl, where I used some Devon Naturals, I think it was. But anyway, I want to make a plain pair of coloured socks, and I wanted to try their Exmoor sock. And I saw this as a new colour in emerald green.
Nice colour.
I don't normally wear green, but I really love the colour, and I want to make some plain socks with texture. So that's that. I fell in love with it as soon as I bought it. That was a really easy purchase, and I think that was my first purchase when I got to Unravel.
It was, I think.
Yeah, it was, definitely.
So this in here is the first thing that I saw when I got to Unravel, and then I was trying to be good, didn't buy it, and then at the very last minute I went back and bought it. So I actually bought a book by... Who is this by? Oh gosh, Cynthia Vallet, Moosh and Friends, I think is what it's
Lane
called.
Publishing.
It's like these little knitted teddies.
It's beautiful.
I've never actually knitted a teddy before.
You will now.
But I fell in love with, where is it? The little ducky. Hang on, I've got it here. Look at little Nana duck. I can't.
So there's a big duck and a little duck, and
That is so
I think,
cute.
So that's what she's going to be doing.
And then when I was there, I just got swept up in it, and I bought some yellow and orange that I actually think will make a really cute little ducky. So that was my impulse purchase.
So moving on from there, we ended up at the Chia Goo stand, and I can't remember what the name of the actual stand was, but you can't miss it because it's a huge stand as you're walking through on the ground floor that's got loads of Chia Goo needles. And as I have just discovered using shorties, I've now got another pair of 2.5 Chia Goos, and I've also bought 3.25 so that whenever I'm doing top-down jumpers, I can do the cuffs in little shorties as well. So that's me.
I love these needles. I started doing socks. I'm not very experienced with socks. I've done 2 pairs and I've got like another pair on the go at the moment. And the thought of ever having to do magic loop instead of using the little tiny ones is just...
So that's that.
Anyway.
So we were good there.
Then we went to Ethel and Joan. Lovely Ethel and
you've
Joan.
got mine, haven't you?
Yeah. But we didn't buy buttons for the first time ever.
My last buttons from Ethel and Joan, I still have them on the card because they're too pretty for me to use.
Yeah,
so that's how silly it's got with me.
That's exactly the same. But we bought little needle stoppers.
To put on our shorties.
Yeah, they say be kind. And there's...
Oh, thanks.
Mum, you're welcome. And I have my own pair as well. And then I also bought these adorable little cloud stitch
They're really
markers.
cute.
They're really cute.
And they're very light as well.
Very
so they're
light.
not going to drag your yarn down when you're using them.
No.
And then last but not least,
Absolutely
got
not
so
least.
excited over this stall, and it wasn't yarn, and it was just so cool that we ended up buying loads of bits and pieces there. So,
Yeah.
what have you got? It's
So
like
this
a party bag.
So this is Tilly Flop. I feel like I'm actually going to ruin my Mother's Day card by telling you about this, but I have to...
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, well, this is for you.
All right, look, hang on. There you go, I'm not looking.
Anyway, it's a card.
Talk about it, I won't look.
I know you can hear what it says. It says,
Oh.
I really, really, really love you, Mum. Now would you help me with my knitting?
Oh, well, that's true, isn't it?
I know, I do it all the time. Nearly every time I come home, I'm like, I'm stuck with this bit, please. So yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's
thanks.
you're not getting it until
pretend
some
you don't
point
know
in
it.
March.
Okay.
But anyway,
I'll forget about it.
Just forget and remember how funny
Okay.
it is. Okay.
Is that it?
That's what I bought sneakily without you looking.
You did.
Yeah, and then
Oh, and we've both got one of those.
yeah, so then we've also got air fresheners for our cars. And then it says, no yarn is left in this vehicle overnight.
I don't know what I've done with mine.
No, you can't have lost it. It'll be in there somewhere. Maybe it's in my bag. It is.
Yes.
It is. It's in my bag. Don't panic. Do not panic. And then what did you buy?
Okay, so I've got one of those as well.
Yeah.
And then I bought a few different things. I bought a card, which I'm actually probably not going to give to anyone. I'm probably just going to keep it. I'm just going to keep it and put it up. It's so cool because it says, let's talk about socks.
Let's talk about socks, baby.
Oh yeah, I forgot the baby
Let's
bit.
talk about you and me.
And so I just love knitting socks, and I knit socks all the time. So that's for me. And then I bought a postcard which just says cancel everything I'm knitting, but I love that as well.
I didn't realise you bought that.
Yeah, I did. Well, obviously I did because I'm holding it. And then I bought these because I'm intending knitting 12 pairs of socks this year that are going to be for other people, different presents, and they're not going to be just saved for Christmas, they're just going to be given. But these are so cool because they are sort of like wrappers. Well, they call them sock bands. So when you've made socks for someone, you can put, I don't know whether that's going to actually catch it, but they've got really funny sayings on them, and then you can just pop them around the socks so they look like a pair of socks that you've bought in the shops.
But also,
and they're wrapped.
It comes with washing instructions, which I've just clocked now.
Oh,
so it
I
just
didn't
says,
realise that.
Just says like
I was
looking
so
after your
busy.
hand knitted socks.
Oh,
Which is
how cool.
Which is great.
Yeah. I was so excited looking at all the lovely colours and the silly sayings.
Yeah.
But I didn't, it says things like, look surprised, these are for you. And there's no such thing as too many hand knit socks. They're just really cool.
Yeah.
So, sorry everybody I'm making socks for, you're going to get one of these wrapped around them as well.
This one says like, has like a little speech bubble, and then it tells you what you should say.
Oh. Bye, go, 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 go.
My stepdad's home at the end of our video.
And he doesn't want to be in it, so.
But to round things off, it says, you say, gosh, I really am worth the 42,200 stitches. It's basically just funny little sock bands, aren't they? But
and that is it. We spent too much. He's not supposed to know, but he's back, so he does.
He doesn't know. He knows nothing.
He doesn't know.